Good day. This is Michael Rooks coming to you from the Spruce Creek Flying Community in Port Orange, Florida. There are a lot of videos on what makes a good landing. Personally, I have more experience with bad landings than good ones. So today, I would like to go over what makes a bad landing. First, let's review what's a normal landing. After configuration and a few pattern turns, you should find yourself parallel to and centered on the runway. You should be approximately 1.3 times the stall speed of your airplane. If you're lucky, you have a VASI, vertical approach slope indicator, or a PAPI, precision approach path indicator, to help with glide slope acquisition. White over white, too much height, red over red, grounded and dead. You maintain the glide slope by picking an aiming point and through power management. Reduce or cut back all power once you cross the threshold. At approximately 10 feet or 3 meters over the runway, you start your round out. Pull back on the stick/yoke to slow your descent until you are about 2 to 4 feet above the runway. Watch your speed and don't stall the airplane. You control your speed with your pitch. At 2 to 4 feet above the runway, you start your flare, adding extra pitch to slow your descent and speed to touchdown. Maintain the pitch for aerodynamic braking. In practice, the round out and flare may appear as one maneuver. The big bounce. The big bounce starts out as a normal landing with a stabilized approach. The problem starts with a too aggressive round out. The descent is arrested well above the requisite 2 to 4 feet from the runway. The plane is too high. As it slows and starts to fall, there is not enough energy left to maintain a controlled descent to the ground, and the plane hits hard. The problem is compounded by a common attempt to slow the ever-increasing drop with increasing flare, pitch-up attitude. This only slows the plane further with little or no increase in lift and possibly a stall. This leads to an even greater bounce. The bounce can result in flat tires, landing gear damage, or more severe airframe issues. The proper response, once the situation is appreciated, is pitch forward and increase in power. The safer response is to go around. Even with just a flat tire, the runway may have to be closed to get you off, and that will lead to a NTSB call. Coming in too low. A low approach can put you in the rough or in the trees. This can result in major damage to the plane and can be fatal to the pilot. A low approach can be worsened by an instinctive desire to pull back on the yoke to get higher. This will only slow the plane and cause more loss of altitude, worsening the situation. The proper response is increasing power, a significant increase, and a pitch that maintains a safe airspeed. Throttle for altitude, pitch for speed. The smart response is full power and a go around. Tail strikes. Hitting the runway with the tail can cause major airframe damage that can be difficult to discern. 520 people died on Japan Airlines Flight 123 in a catastrophic failure 7 years after a tail strike on a landing that was improperly repaired. Tail strikes on landings usually occur from high approaches. The plane comes in fast and at a high pitch down angle, hot and high. An aggressive round out and flare leaves the plane with a high pitch up angle. This can be aggravated by an aft placed center of gravity. A forward slip on approach might be enough to fix the problem, but a go around is still your best option. Porpoising, also known as pilot-induced oscillations. This is a series of bounces in which the nose strikes first. Porpoising is associated with hard landings, landing flat or nose first, and too much speed. Pilot attempts to get the nose down after a bounce on the main wheels can also start this phenomenon. Nose wheel damage and excursion from the runway is common. Riding out the bounces can be catastrophic, but a go around may not be possible. Adding a little speed and keeping the nose up is recommended. Wheel bearing. This occurs from a nose wheel initial touchdown after an inadequate or late flare. If the plane is not dead on aligned to the center line and wings level, the nose wheel will cause the plane to veer off to one side or the other, hence the term wheel bearing. Any tilt in the wings will worsen the situation. The turn easily worsens and becomes difficult to control. Again, nose wheel damage and excursion from the runway is common. Prop strikes. The more catastrophic result of an insufficient flare or porpoising is a propeller strike on the runway. Noticeable damage, irreparable propeller damage, possible engine damage, and even damage to the firewall are to be expected. Expect an engine overhaul in the repair bill. Both porpoising and prop strikes are risk factors in high approaches. Leaving the runway. One of the risks in a crosswind landings is that you find yourself blown off the runway into the rut. This usually results from inadequate flight controls on landing. In a crosswind, we land in a side slip using a bank in the wings to counteract the wind's lateral thrust. When you level out the wings on touchdown and the plane slows, you lose this lateral lift force. As you land, you should increase the aileron bank inputs, turn the yoke further, so that when the plane stops, you have full yoke into the wind. There is a tendency to neutralize the controls once you achieve touchdown. This allows the wind to blow you off the runway and can even result in the plane being flipped over and/or a wingtip runway strike. Preventive measures. Bad landings don't have to be a fact of life. It all starts with a stabilized approach. You should be at the appropriate airspeed crossing the runway. A good stable round out that gets you within a few feet of the runway is a prerequisite to a safe landing. While on the ground before you take off, note the horizon and runway distance above the glare shield while you are level on the runway. Going around is not a weakness, it's proof of good aeronautical decision making. If things aren't perfect, go around. Landing is not optional, but landings are. Thank you for your time and attention.